Ready? Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Tom, for your talk. I want to address a couple of things in Tom's talk, but first I wanted to talk about posture because we have a whole bunch of new people here. And as I think some of you have discovered, it's really hard to sit still. So let me give you a few lessons. The first thing I want, this is what people in Soto Zen always do this. They rock back and forth slightly before and what they're doing is they're looking for their sit bones. And your sit bones are where your back is straight. If you're not sitting on your sit bones, you're a little forward or a little back. When your back is straight, you're sitting on your sit bones. And they're basically, you have your spine and you have the plane of your back, and they're right in the same plane. They're not in front, they're not behind. They're right where your spine is. So that gives you a lot of stability. So you sit on your sit bones. And then the other thing you do is you don't sit like this, which I always tend to do, but I have to stop myself. And you don't sit like this, because when you do that, you're putting tremendous strain on your back muscles, as I think some of you have discovered. So what you do is you tuck your chin in slightly so that the roof of your mouth, too much, the roof of your mouth is parallel to the floor. You don't want your chin parallel to the floor. You want the roof of your mouth parallel to the floor. And then you drop your eyes. And then the other thing is the mudra, like this. So left hand over right, and thumbs touching, making like a round shape, not like this, not like that, but like this. And then you place it right here, a couple of fingers below your belly button. This is your Tian Tian. The center of this is what the Chinese call Tian Tian, which means energy garden. The Koreans call it Tanjin, and the Japanese call it Hara. So if you've ever done Japanese martial arts, you're familiar with this term. And then you want to sit in a position where your knees are supported on the floor. Of course, I have to sit in a chair because I have meniscus problems. But you want to sit, and sometimes people find it better to have higher cushions. Sometimes, I'm not going to ask you to try now, sometimes kneeling is better. Sometimes we have these kneeling benches. So if you want to do this seriously, you want to have your knees supported, then your knees and your butt make this kind of triangle of support. And then you want this mudra, you want your eyes lowered, you want your chin just tucked in slightly, and you want to make sure you're sitting on your sit bones. Because otherwise, you're going to really hurt yourself. There's no way to put it. So if you're going to do this, do it right. Okay, thank you. So you were talking about teacher has the flashlight.
Right.
You do too. Okay. So there is this Chinese Chan Master Hua, who lived in California. He founded this amazing city of 1,000 Buddhas up in Ukiah, right in the heart of marijuana country, back in like the 70s or something. He did not take marijuana. He was a very strict monk. And he talked about the teacher as a good knowing advisor. Mm-hmm. So you have your own flashlight. Mm-hmm. But teachers and senior students, these are people who have been there before. You can say, oh, let me, I can tell you a little bit. There's a troll in the bottom of this bridge. Be careful, Like I just told you about posture, right? So the purpose of a teacher is to just be a good knowing advisor. And then, of course, we have these Kangen interviews where the purpose of the teacher is to shake you up and inside out and make you doubt yourself, and then suddenly, whoa, but that's something else. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah, when you said, you don't know very much, I don't know anything. Right? That's why I'm a teacher. So, yeah. So are there any questions? With so many new people, there should be some questions. Don't be shy. Whatever you ask, someone else. Yes, speak loud.
So this reminds me of the last time we had a regular Sunday practice where we talked a lot about global issues, and of course today we got that keto chant for peace. These conversations have reminded me of a line that I heard when I was watching a video on different histories of social activism in different places around the world. And there was a quote that went something to the effect of, to make lasting change, we must think globally and act locally. And I was wondering if you could say something about that in the context of Buddhist practice.
Well, think globally and act locally. Act locally is a very old saying. I remember it when I was young. And I don't think it needs a Buddhist context. How are you going to act? You have to act locally, right? Even if you're giving money to an organization that's far away, it's still local. You know, it's your money that you're giving. And if you fly out to be part of, like, say, Doctors Without Borders or something like that, well, once you're there, that's your local, okay? So, you know, I guess we can act at a distance, like right now. I'm talking to all these people all over the world. Okay, well, at least all over the US. So yeah, so, but still, it's local in that it's in your perception. It can't be any other way. But I also, you know, so I should explain, keto means energy way, and it's what we call extensive chanting sessions, sometimes whole retreats, like they can go on for days. Though we've never done that here, but they're wonderful if you can. And so we had an international, speaking about global and local, so the Quantum School of Zen is an international organization, literally all over the world. And so we had a global keto, global chanting session for peace for 2 hours this morning. That's why, you know, my voice is sort of not there. So people all over the world, and it was of course over Zoom, and a whole bunch of us. There were about 8 or 9 of us in this room. Some of them had to leave. About 8 or 9 of us in this room chanting together, you know, and people would take turns leading. We got the last shift, so we were leading the last part. And so, and in this, and of course, we're chanting for peace, because right now there's an awful lot of non-peace. And not just Israel, Palestine, all over the world, there are terrible situations for people. And I can't even remember them all because there's so many. And when it started, there were 2 Zen masters who gave speeches, one from Germany and one from America, who's actually the head of the whole school, Barbara Rhodes and Master Songhyang. And the guy from Germany, Roland, and I'm forgetting his Zen master name, I apologize, Roland. Jihan, thank you. Okay. He gave a wonderful talk, and he talked about how you have clouds covering the mountain. And these clouds, you know, these clouds represent our suffering. These clouds cover the mountain, but the mountain is always there. So our true nature is always there. And how do we use this true nature to help this world? That was a wonderful talk. But do you know something? Mountains are not permanent. They're not, you know? And so instead of thinking that there's this big mountain that exists all by itself, it's our energy that makes this mountain. It's our efforts that make this mountain. All together, you know, Tom was talking a lot about together action. The man who founded the school, Zen Master Sung-san, his English was terrible. And so he came up with these phrases that don't sound like English, like together action, but they really get the point across. Oh, acting together. You say acting together, it's like, but you say together action, you know, like that. He said only go straight. He said only don't know, all this stuff. Just do it. Long before Nike, we thought of trying to sue Nike to get some kind of, you know. Anyway, so this together action, it's not just an idea that we have to attain. Whatever we're doing is together action. And the question is, are we working with each other or are we working against each other? That's the question. And that's not saying you can't disagree, because sometimes disagreement, things come out of disagreement. You know, it's important to work together, and that's sometimes saying, well, should we do this or should we do this? It's not saying that everyone has to, you know, act like some kind of rote robots, but it's saying that our sense is that we are together in this. We're working together. That's really important. And whatever we do is going to affect everything, actually. You know, the little butterfly flaps its wings, and then you have, you know, a tornado somewhere in Saskatchewan or something. So yeah. So this together action is not just somebody's idea. It's actually how we live our lives, and to be conscious of it, and to, you know, this practice. I mean, you know, we make everybody in the room here wear robes, you know, so we all kind of look alike. I mean, some of us have different robes, and some of us have brown things, but we're all kind of looking alike, you know. I remember when I first started practicing and I refused to wear a robe. This was back in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1976, long before many of you were born. And I would refuse to wear a robe. And then I realized that there's one guy I had a little crush on, and I would think, do I look skinny in this sweater? You know? And then I thought, I better start wearing a robe, because then you don't worry about this. You know, so we bow together, we chant together. You know, maybe the key's too low for us, maybe it's too high for us. Too bad. You just do your best to act together. You know, we do these things together, and then we sit together. I mean, sure, sometimes somebody stands up, because I had to stand up today, even though I'm in a chair, I had to stand up. That's okay. But the fact is, we're so aware of each other, you know, and when you're, you know, on Zoom, you're really aware of all the people on Zoom, much more than we are in this room. And also you're aware of us. So people online, they really have the sense of together, even more than we do, because they can see us very clearly. We have a harder time seeing them. So yeah, so this together action is extremely important. And the other thing about together action is you don't get to ask yourself what you feel like doing. I don't feel like chanting right now. I don't like that chant, but I like that one. You know, I don't want to bow. I don't want to sit. I'll sit later. You know, it doesn't work like that. It's like, it's time for you to chant. It's time to chant. It's time to bow. You bow. It's time to sit. You sit. You know, and retreats are really like that. It's time to eat. You eat. Otherwise, no, you don't eat. Like that. Time to sleep. You sleep. Otherwise, no. Sorry. So it's all.
And you definitely want to eat and sleep on retreats.
Yes, you definitely want to eat and sleep on retreats.
That's great.
Actually, on long retreats, I don't want to eat. You have to force yourself to eat on a really long retreat. But okay, so this together action, what it does is it starts freeing ourselves from our desire mind, which is always pulling us around. What do I feel like doing today? What do I want to do? I think I'll check Facebook. I think I'll go to TikTok, you know, whatever it is, right? So we're always being pulled and pushed around by this desire mind. And when we're acting together, then that desire mind, it can yell all at once, but we're not following it. And when we're sitting, you know, when you sit, if you sit at home, don't get up when you feel like getting up. And don't stay down when you feel like staying down. Set a timer, otherwise known as your watch, put it behind you, and just sit until the timer goes off. And whether it feels good, feels bad, doesn't matter. Just you wait for that timer to go off, and then you get up. You don't say, oh, this is so wonderful, I'm in samadhi. No, you get up because it went off. And that's, again, this detachment from the desire mind. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh God, there's so many dishes in the sink and I've got to go to work, and oh, when am I going to do the dishes? I better get up. No, you stay seated. This is extremely important. This is this cutting this desire mind. So it appears, but you don't have to follow it. That's extremely important, is not to follow, but to really perceive the situation in our lives and not just follow our own thoughts about it. So I've talked a lot. We have 6 minutes for questions. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so karma, which is a big idea, and in the past you've said, you know, I think what I remember, it may not have been what you said, so I shouldn't say that, of this, you know, when you come into contact with somebody that that you don't like or that you disagree with, that's the best thing, because you're forced to look at yourself. However, that's not the case all the time, right? Because like the bully on the playground, or all these people who are stuck in conflicts that other people are having, and they're just wanting to get their child the medical help they need, and they can't. But that's not their karma coming back to bite them, that their child isn't getting what they need. Or when I'm on the playground and somebody bullies me, I mean, that's not my karma coming back. It's not because I did something. So if you could speak a little bit about that, I would appreciate it.
Nobody owns their karma. Karma is like energy, and karma flows through you. And what kind of karma will you allow to manifest? So yeah, the father in Gaza who can't get his daughter to the hospital, that's not his karma. That's this huge ball of karma that involves not just Israelis and Palestinians, but people throughout the Mideast and people throughout the world. It's this huge, giant ball of karma, and nobody owns it. And it's causing tremendous suffering. So it's not the idea that, anything that happens to me is a result of my karma. What happens to you is a result of karma, which means other people's actions as well as your own. And it's not something you can, neatly classify like that. Oh, you did this and that's why. I mean, in the old Buddhist stories, they say things like, this person hit you because a long time ago they were an ant and you were an anteater and you ate them. That doesn't explain anything. Why did the anteater eat the ant? Oh, you got to go back a few more incarnations, It doesn't explain anything. So I just think of karma as just this huge thing that nobody owns, but it goes through all of us. And how do we respond? And we contribute to this huge whatever it is, in whatever way we are contributing to it. So that's how I think of it. Okay? It's not classic Buddhism, but that's, and if you go beyond the surface, all of these things, all of these words like karma, they start to dissolve. Because ultimately these are all ideas, and ideas are very helpful, but they're only ideas. So how do you use them? How do you use everything to help? That's the question. Did I answer it? Okay, thank you. Yes, you did. I did answer a question. I answered your question. Yeah, thank you. But I answered it for a long time. Are there any other questions? Yes, speak loudly.
The Zen Master Simsan used to say, believe in yourself 100%.
Yeah.
How does that fit with together action?
Yeah, so
believing in yourself.
That's believing in your true self.
Your true self. And
your true self is not different from anyone else's true self. So you have to believe in this true self. In Zen Master Ji Kwang's analogy, this mountain, you don't believe in the clouds, you believe in the mountain. Okay? Yeah, you don't believe in, I'm this terrific person, I can tell everyone what to do because I know and they don't know. It's believing in your true self, which is before speech, before thinking. Really, really fundamental. That's what it means to believe in yourself. Yeah. And when you do that, not all the time, but sometimes it enables you to stand up and say, stop. I mean, sometimes you can't. Sometimes no one can. But sometimes it's possible to stand up and say, stop, when you see someone causing suffering. And it's belief in your true self that allows you to do that. Because otherwise you're all worried about, well, are they going to hurt me? Is something going to happen to me? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to, whatever it is. But if you believe in your true self, then you can stand up when it's possible to stand up. Okay, thank you. Time for one more question if there is one. Oh, hi, Kenny. Kenny, what's your question? You had a great one last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Why do we meditate?
Why do we meditate? You have the best questions. Thank you. We meditate to see our minds and to cut through our thinking. We meditate to allow the universe to come in without anything between us and the universe. We meditate to find our true self and not be distracted by all the stuff that always distracts us. Okay? All right. Thank you. Do you meditate?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we can stop recording now.